Jazz hands.
Hello and welcome to the VR Gamescast. I am Zeena. I'm going to be your host, and joining me today, as always, is Jamie Felton.
Hello. Welcome, Internet.
And as you may have seen right in the beginning, we have got Marcus Henderson, producer at Vertigo Games, the silver guy over in the corner.
Hello. hello.
Marcus,
I am silver today.
Yeah, Marcus was not intending to be silver, but unfortunately the Oculus app has a bug that won't let him edit his avatar, so we've decided that Marcus has come as Daft Punk to the Unplugged podcast, which I think is very fitting. To be fair, if you're listening on audio, that doesn't make a difference. But if you're on YouTube, sorry about Marcus being silver.
The
Marcus
thing
is sorry
Jamie...
about Marcus being silver.
Facebook needs to be sorry about Marcus being silver. This is because I was talking about how terrible the Oculus app was earlier today on Twitter, and now they were like, you know what, we're gonna spoil your guest spot for this.
Not a problem. I see it as an enhancement, and nothing that a great big apology cake can't fix. So there we go. You can send that over anytime.
So
Cool.
I guess Jamie doesn't need to do his usual this is what I hate about Facebook intro that he does every single week because it kind of speaks for itself.
This time it is on display.
Right, the content speaks for itself. But you know what? That's rock and roll, and rock and roll is all about, kind of just like overcoming stage antics and weird anomalies. So let's just consider this like the tiny Stonehenge that gets dropped from above. And we shall dance around it like the dwarves we are.
I genuinely could not have. I don't think anyone could have put that better than that. Marcus, if you look at this lovely screen we have up here, we've just put up the track list for Unplugged.
Woohoo!
It's here. People know about it. They can finally talk about it. So if you don't know what Unplugged is, I've been describing it as Guitar Hero but air guitar, really. We've got a bunch of coverage on UploadVR.com at the moment about the game. It's coming out next month on, I want to say, October 21st. Is that right? I think it is. Yes.
That is correct.
And so it uses hand tracking on Oculus Quest. Colored notes come towards you on the screen, and you kind of use your corresponding fingers to match and then strum along as well with your other hand. It's really cool. We have played it a bunch. I'm surprised it works. I thought for the longest time we'd start playing it and like we'd be fighting the hand tracking the entire time, but from our preview it does work, which is really cool. You must be very, very excited to finally talk about the set list, which includes the likes of Alt J. I don't know how to pronounce Leonard. Is it Leonard Skinner? How do you say it? You've got to know.
It's Leonard Skinner. It's
Not
in the southern vernacular of Florida. There, apparently, as the history goes, like the boys in Leonard Skinner had a gym teacher named Leonard Skinner, and so Leonard Skinner is sort of like, just kind of works.
There you
right?
go.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We've also got some Rush. We got some Steel Panther, of course, because Satchel's in the game, so that's really cool.
Of course.
Talk us through the set list for you, some of the highlights and the thinking behind some of the inclusions.
So the idea behind our set list was to get a good cross section of what hardcore fans really want from a music game, but also without going too deep down like the older, what some people are calling 80s or dinosaur rock, platform where it's just we're focusing on one particular thing. So the idea was to work with another way to come up with a fairly good cross section of modern indie songs, fan favorites like Rush and Ozzy, and then some really challenging stuff like Lynch Mob and Extreme and some of the other stuff like that. So it was essentially just trying to balance it out so that everybody was kind of happy with not only the challenge level across certain songs, but the replayability. So we wanted people to have fun playing Ozzy on easy, and then have the challenge step up to normal and to till you get to expert. So making the fans happy was certainly part of it, but also longevity and replayability. so that people can enjoy the game and kind of grind through and unlock more guitars and kind of get an arcadey feel for our content.
Mm. And guys, if you're watching along, leave questions in the YouTube chat, and we can ask Marcus about anything you want to know about the game. We can pretty much talk about pretty much most of it now, which is cool. Obviously, when we spoke earlier in the month, there was a lot still under embargo, so it's great to be able to chat now. I'm really excited to play. I'm a big
Bohemian
I'm
like you.
You're really excited.
I was
for that
so
one.
excited to see that on there. It's one of those songs that I had to like look up on Spotify, and then I was like, "Oh my god, it's this song!" And then like everything came flooding back to me. I love that song a lot.
Yeah, a lot of the music came from the heart of the dev teams. Everybody is huge into like not just picking the low hanging fruit of pop, but really like curating something that resonates with hardcore music fans. So this game really is all about serving people that love music, that love rhythm games, and if you happen to like rock and metal in particular, we wanted to make sure that you're taken care of as well.
Yeah, I definitely got that sense from like having Ozzy and like Rush and stuff on there as well. Like those are like really solid like legacy picks for sure. I'm a big fan
also
of the
think
Hives.
about like if it's a song that you're naturally going to find yourself air guitaring to, that's kind of like the number one litmus test for whether or not a song is going to work in our game. It's got to translate into the raw like expressionism of playing air guitar. So if you'd find yourself doing that to any of these songs, like Tom Sawyer, that's an air guitar song. So it really it started from the top. Is this a song that people would have fun just jamming out to in their underwear at home? And if it's a yes, then it moves on to okay, let's discuss the options and see if it's really going to work with the game mechanic that we have presented inside of Unplugged. So these songs were all like very well thought out, and we even came down to, well, we love the band, but is this the right song for the game? Are there any other songs that might work for this? So a ton of thought and a lot of care and alacrity went into choosing every single song on the set list, and I think it's going to work out pretty good.
Yeah, Ozzy in particular, when I was doing the preview a couple of weeks ago, there was this real light bulb moment with the feature you have with the solo to just waggle the fingers, because that really is the kind of, well, like you said, like the air guitar moment. And like there's just that kind of section in that song where like 3 or 4 of those sections are thrown in all together. And that was the real moment for me when I first played Unplugged. I was like, actually, this really works, because I was just having so much fun going crazy at the end of the day. And it threw the technicalities and the high scores and everything about that aside and said, just have fun with it. And I was really, really into those moments.
That's a great point. Games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band are very much into sort of the individualistic aspect, right? You're kind of just very still, concentrating on the motions. Our game lends itself to the performance aspects of the headset, which is really encouraging people to get physical. So there's a certain amount of physicality to the games on the Quest and in VR, and we wanted to lend a lot of our content towards performance and having people really have fun instead of just standing still staring at your fingers. We wanted people to get into it, and some of the mechanics in the game, when you do very well at the end, you're going to be able to energize the crowd and everything. So we wanted to incorporate a lot of gesture and a lot of performance elements into this game, so it wasn't just like you on an island playing guitar for scoring. It's you really trying to get the crowd and earn the fans. And at the heart of it, I think Unplugged really is all about fans. Like, fans are the key word. You earn fans as currency in the game. A lot of these songs were carefully selected because of their rabid fan base and how much we care and respect the source material. So, I think it kind of comes down to just serving the technology in a way that makes sense and having a ton of fun along the way as well.
So I just want to
go for it,
quickly look at the comments and stuff going on. So some people are like, they're hoping for Slipknot. I think many people are. People are saying this is a top rock game. Sexy Bicycle. That's one of our members, by the way. I love that name.
One of our favorite members, Sexy.
One of our favorite members, Sexy Bicycle, said, "Great looking track list. Nice spread. Stoked to play all of these songs." I think someone
Thank
down
you.
there said
Thank
that
you,
their
sexy
family's going to
bicycle.
be their family's going to be screaming "Play Freebird" every time they see me with a headset on. My mom's going to be doing that, but with T-Rex. She's crazy about T-Rex, so
yeah, that's one of my favorite
yeah.
songs in the game as well. Like,
yeah,
Children of the Revolution is a great one.
I want to get back to that in a second. I saw Brandon C asking how the game's going to work on PC headsets, because obviously it's coming to Quest next month and the PC versions later down the line. And it's not that you're going to be using controllers with those headsets apart from the Valve Index, right? But the other ones are hand tracking headsets, if I'm right.
You're correct. Yep.
Cool. So it's Brandon. It's not going to be, if you have an Oculus Rift, you're not going to be using the touch controller there. But if you have a Valve Index, you can still be using the finger tracking on that, and then other hand tracked headsets, which I guess would be things like, I don't know, like the HTC Vive has like a hand tracking module that is probably compatible with it, right?
Yeah, and it's sort of important. Does it look like I'm picking my nose? I'm literally scratching my nose.
No. Don't worry.
No.
The hand tracking isn't that good, as I'm sure you've probably worked out.
All right. So yeah, what was the question, Jamie? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
No, it was just
my nose itched, man.
It was more just about like which headsets on PC are gonna work. Like, how far does that compatibility go when it comes to the PC version of the game?
Well, the hand tracking tech is essential to powering the Unplugged experience. So it's got to be baked into the headset to be able to take full advantage of the gameplay and everything that's going on inside of our game.
Okay. Yeah, so getting back to the track list, and yeah, T-Rex definitely seems like it's going to be a great one to play, because what I've found again with the game so far is it's the big crunchy riffs that work the best, right? And so when I'm playing something like Say It Ain't So at the start, like the kind of more technical, like vibey bit there, I get through that bit, but it's not till I get to the real crunch of the bow now when I'm suddenly really like connecting with it, right? And that must have been something that you were looking for a lot in these songs.
Yeah, big hits. There's a bit of a science to taking advantage of both the tech and serving the vibe of our game, right? I mean, if it's super technical, I mean, something like "Through the Fire and the Flames" by Dragon Force is a great Guitar Hero song, because it's obviously a Guitar Hero song, right? But to stand there and try to really capture every single finger motion in that game isn't really what the spirit of our Unplugged air guitar experience is all about, really. It's about, like I said, it kind of comes back to the physicality of performance and having that sense of the big chorus crashes. Slower tunes end up working a little bit better, because I mean, unless you're just spazzed out on, a 32-ounce cup of coffee, you're not going to be really, standing still and tensing your body up. We wanted people to be loose, to throw the arms around, to have fun, and really get into, like I said, the performance element of it. So if we put songs that are too quick or super highly technical, then it kind of removes people away from the fun of the gestures. So there was a bit of a balancing act between gesture, technicality, and then, is it a great song to play? Do people want to hear this every day? So it's not as easy as I think was, selecting tunes for Guitar Hero. I remember sitting back on Guitar Hero 2 in the music selection committee, holding a controller and just going, kind of like approximating what a finger pattern would be on a controller as it reduces to, 5 soft keys. This is a completely different experience. You want people to feel loose and jump around a little bit, and obviously not crash into your television or go, step on the cat. But we do want people to have fun and distill the raw experience of, capturing the joy of air guitar. I mean, at the end of the day, this game is air guitar. And to extend it a little further, it's air Guitar Hero, right? It's air guitar with the Guitar Hero mechanic. So yeah, slightly slower songs, bigger chords, bigger crashes, anything that's going to encourage people to rock out and really get that visceral sense of being on stage. Because our game really is kind of a first-person stage simulator in that respect, right? So yeah, there's a certain amount of push and pull when it comes to selecting music, but I think the team knocked it out of the park with the initial launch list.
Yeah. Talk to me about working with Satchel, because that was such a great band to pick in general for both the game and the kind of mentorship that you're gonna see going through the game. And I was surprised just how much Satchel you let Satchel be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Was a guy like Satchel, just he's automatic, right? He's like, when he's in character, it is something to behold. So he really kind of like enhances and sort of embodies that larger than life rock aesthetic that we were looking for. And we wanted it to be funny and accessible, and rock and roll in its own way. Like we referenced at the very top, like a tiny Stonehenge coming down upon us. That's a kind of capturing the irreverence of rock and roll. A rock and roll is kind of a larger than life, can't believe it's reality kind of experience in most cases. So every design decision, from the bottle strewn backstage to everything that's going on in your peripheral, was meant to show people that, hey, not only do we really love the source material, but I mean, we a lot of us play guitar. I come from a performing background, so it's getting somebody like Satchel was just it's a natural. He's the best avatar for our game because he's larger than life. He was hilarious, and he's sort of set the tempo for a lot of the humor that we have in our game, which is what rock and roll is all about. And when rock and roll takes itself too seriously and gets up its own ass, it's no longer fun. You know what I mean? It's just, so we wanted it to be fun, challenging. We wanted it to rock. And I think, he kind of set the tempo and did it beautifully for us.
Once I heard he was in the game, I showed Zeena the video. It's like a 10-year-old video now, like a Steel Panther concert where like an 11-year-old gets on stage and just does the craziest solos, like replacing Satchel. If you haven't seen that, you have to go and watch that video, because it's just to this day, it still blows my mind.
It is brilliant how how we went with it, right? How we just like slumped his shoulders, like, holy crap, this is it for me. I'm being replaced by 11-year-old. and that's just, that's the number one rule of improv, man. Just go with it. And he got it. So we allowed him to, I mean, it was scripted. Julia and Ricardo did an amazing job at another way of scripting the sort of, the basic deck for him to kind of follow. But there was time where he just kind of went off and riffed on his own. And those were some of the best moments. And, a lot of the spirit of Unplugged is letting talented people just do what they're going to do. And, working with Satchel, that was kind of no exception.
Yeah. Is there going to be like a blooper reel of the other stuff that he could have said in the game?
Oh my goodness, we have so much content of Satchel going crazy. And then we decided it was funnier to like keep the expletives but just bleep them out, because I mean we know that they can Steel Panther, I mean, they're consummate pros, right? They can do what they do to the end of the earth and they're going to be Steel Panther, but they can also dial it back. And I think we tried to find that middle ground where it's like, okay, we want you guys to be absurd and sort of take the piss, so to speak, but we also want, to maintain that to avoid the M for mature rating. So there was certain things that we were like, wait, we crossed the line a few times, but all in good fun. It wasn't, none of it was mean spirited or anything. It was just a little too Steel Panther for our game rating. But the guys did an amazing job of editing and scripting, and we're quite happy with it. And Steel Panther's over the moon with just being involved in the game, and it's been great to work with them. More cool stuff to come too.
Oh, cool!
Nice.
Ooh, we'll tease that. to that point, how much of the game is Satchel with you for? Because obviously, like, he's very heavily involved in the tutorial. Is it a case of as you go through the career, he's going to be with you pretty much the entire time there?
So it depends on the performance. He will pop up from time to time and give you motivational or encouraging epithets, and sometimes it will be demotivational. He'll give you feedback based on how you're doing, but none of it's mean spirited. He's always, I mean, he embraced the role of being sort of the avatar of the game. He's like the spiritual guide. He is the rock god that carries you through, your very first small venue all the way up to the largest ones that we have in the game. So, for those people who aren't familiar at home, there is a story arc and a progression inside of Unplugged, wherein you start off, in smaller clubs, work your way up to become a rock god, just like Satchel, and he prepares you along the way, not only through the tutorial, but gives you tips as you go. So he's everywhere inside of Unplugged, and it's just a good thing. More Satchel is a good thing in my opinion.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. And talk a little bit more about that campaign and how you're going to progress. Like, what kind of venues are we going to see as we get further and further into it? Are we going to end up being at those kind of massive stadium sized places, or how's it going to go?
Well, rock and roll is always better when it's got a redemption arc. So when you start off small and you're in a smaller club, maybe the fans are a little indifferent, maybe there's a sparser crowd, but the better you do, the more engaged they'll become, and the venues that you'll play, if you unlock all the songs and complete all the tasks, you'll get into larger venues, and the scene will change. The stage detritus will be less because you're on a better stage. Ergo, like they've got their stuff together, so to speak. Smaller clubs are a little dirtier, just because when you're playing smaller clubs, you're playing in a bar, as you go. But as you continue to progress, you'll get into halls until you get into some of the largest venues in the game, which just look incredible. And there's always a bit of a fantasy element to everything, so it's not super gritty realistic, because I mean no musician that plays our game wants to be reminded of what it's like to play in a crappy club.
Yeah.
Well, I'm raising my hand here because my band still plays in those crappy clubs. So we wanted to give that suspension of belief where people can rise above and hit our largest stages, and the largest stages are where like full rock fantasy comes in, and they're skinned out beautifully, and they're ultra colorful, and there's always that larger than life aspect to our game that we wanted to sort of keep people into the fantasy reality, fantasy based realm of rock and roll. And it looks gorgeous. Some of our stages are just mind-blowingly cool.
Yeah, I definitely feel like from the environments I've seen so far, like, you guys really knock it out of the park. Just like, I mean, like you're saying, like those early clubs and stuff are dirty and littered all over the place. But then it's not just about that. But then you've also got like great branding in the game from, like, I think there are like orange amps in the game and things like that, right? Which really help sell you a bit more.
Yeah, so there is some really cool brands in the game. We're going to be doing a big reveal on that pretty soon.
Cool.
Lots of good stuff to talk about there, but there's an element, as much of an element of fantasy as you'll see in our game. Like, the smaller clubs will have like torn posters behind you, and just the attention to detail is incredible. But there's also a ground in reality kind of aspect to it as well, where you look down and you'll see a real amplifier that's plugged into a real life pedal, and it's cabled up correctly, like the cables go to the correct thing. So as much as we wanted to make it fun and fantasy based, we also wanted to remind people that, hey, you are on a stage, you still have to rock these fans, that you still earning fans to accrue more equipment to go on. And aside from that, there's also replayability, in as much as we want people to get the gold records, we want people to get the diamond records, so we want people to really test their mettle, so to speak, and hit the leaderboard and show people what they're capable of inside of our game. So it's not just play through a song, unlock a new venue. There's all these other kind of meta challenges involved as well, which make it super fun.
Cool. There are you gave a little bit of a hint earlier, but are there plans for DLC? Are we going to see more songs coming in post-launch? Is that something you can talk about, or am I being?
So I have not been given the green light to discuss that, but I can tell you that every rhythm game on Earth that has plans to continue rocking their fans lives and dies by the ability to refresh content, which is something that we're very much exploring as well. So there are, without letting the cat out of the bag, so to speak, there are so many cool things that we've been talking about and planning. And if we put our best foot forward and we present our hearts to the gamers, and people appreciate what we've done, it just gives us that much more ability to continue on and build out the vision for this game that we all believe we can attain. And like I said, this game is very much a love letter to rock and roll, and a tribute to the electric guitar made by people who very much care about and love and have built Rock Band and Guitar Hero. So we know that people are waiting for something like this, and we just try to treat it with as much respect and love as humanly possible. So we have plans, but we got to get there first.
Well, you've got a lot of suggestions in the chat if you need to go back and get some inspiration.
We love it, man. The more, send us all of the suggestions, give us everything that you want, because we are building the game for you guys. I mean, this is what I have to say to the fans. Like, this game literally is for you. Like, we wanted this game to exist, but we're building it for you. So if there's something in particular that you think you would enjoy playing, or an element, or a concept or idea, just share it with the developers. I mean, great games are made because developers listen to their fans, and we at Another Way and Vertigo, we're very much in tune with our community, and we want our fans to shape the game experience that they want to play. So send it our way.
Cool. I'm gonna kick off the boat and say that you guys should do a 90s grunge pack specifically for me.
Yeah.
So I'm talking some Pearl Jam, some Soundgarden, some Mudhoney, maybe a little Alice in Chains. If you could get right on that, I'd be very, very happy.
We're right on it, man. These are the kind of things that the one thing I can say is that we have an amazing, amazingly talented and hyper intelligent group of people working for us at Vertigo in Another Way, and everybody has explored every remote corner of what is possible in this realm. So if it's being suggested, there's a good chance that we have already talked about it, or we're thinking about it, or we're planning on doing something similar. So I can't divulge too much, but there's something to be said for what you're bringing up, and you're bringing up something that people have talked about and have requested as well. So cool. Bringing in with the theory that we're very much in tune with our community and listening to suggestions just like that, it's valuable to us and will always be taken into consideration.
Yeah, and I saw someone earlier in the chat as well mention there's another rhythm game out there called Smash Drums, which you can probably work out how that one works. Did you guys look into any other kind of instruments? Like, was there any experiments with air guitar or air drumming, even, or air keyboard or anything like that for now?
Well, we knew that guitar was air guitar was the number one thing, that people like to do when they put on a rock tune, right? I mean, people love to air drum, but I mean, maybe it's there's slightly more air guitar. So the game mechanic and the popularity of the medium really kind of lent itself to, well, what's a naturally cool instrument to kind of kick this off with? So air guitar was the initial concept, but and I'm just going to dance on this minefield very carefully here.
I'm sorry, I'm throwing the ball out right at the end here.
No problem, man. Just keep feeding me, man. But I got to tell you, it's something that we've always considered, which was how cool would it be to incorporate other elements and other instruments, and there's always a huge what if that hangs over our game studios. I mean, the best concepts start when people say, hey, what if we tried this, or what if, and so, being an adventurous lot, we're always looking to increase and enhance, adding instruments, or exploring the possibility of bringing more gamers together in new and unique ways on the medium. So I hope that non-answer served as kind of an answer, but still at the same time, you know where we're going, and if you can dream it up, and if you're asking the question, like I said, chances are we've been in discussion, or we've had that what if moment ourselves as well.
So I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gotten 100% or like a perfect playthrough of a song yet?
I've come so close. And and it's usually, if I blow a combo, it's 100% my fault, because I'm rocking out too hard, and I get into it. Like, I'm always bumping into the table, or falling on the couch, or nearly stepping on my son's foot or something when I'm rocking out, because I get into it. And that's the spirit of air guitar, which is, jump around. A game like Beat Saber, one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling game on the platform, there is a deep physicality to that game. People use it to stay in shape, and our game is not it's not a workout based IP, right? It's more, a little bit more fun, and it's certainly a rhythm game, but it doesn't mean that you can't get on stage and go crazy. And when I play in my band, I'm very physical. I move around. I'm prowling the stage. I'm having fun. Even when I'm playing in front of my 6 fans on stage, I'm having the best time of my life, because I enjoy it, right? And it's not about it's about the process. So yeah, I've blown a couple of great combos, not because I was trying to grind for the highest score to get on the leaderboard, but because I'm just so wrapped up in the moment and having a good time. And I think that is the energy that we wanted to really capture and share with people in Unplugged.
So for people trying to get as close as possible to a perfect playthrough, do you have any like top tips for how people should play, and how people should, really nail it to get the most out of the game?
Yeah, the good thing is that when you boot up the game, Satchel is there on a rock poster, and he kind of comes to life and breaks the fourth wall, and he starts talking to you, and he does everything you can ask to prepare you to get through every technique. So there isn't one element of the game that we don't prepare players to take advantage of. So the tips that I would share are the same that what Satchel would give, which would be,
Right.
Make sure that if you're wearing a leather jacket, roll up your sleeves, right? Make sure that your room is really well lit so that the tracking is as accurate as it can be. But other than that, we want people to have fun and go crazy, and, fall into your table, do what you got to do, but really enjoy the game in your own particular way. So if trying to get on the leaderboard is the way you want to play the game, there's tons of content for you, and there's an incredible rock journey, like I said, just waiting for you to get in and start your expedition from stage 1 to the highest stages in Valhalla. And then conversely, if you're just there to rock out and break a sweat and go crazy, and scoring may not be that important to you, but having fun really is an important element in this game. And no matter how well you play the game, either through scoring or otherwise, we want you to take the headset off and go, man, that was awesome. I love Unplugged. It reminds me of all the great rhythm games that I grew up with. Can't wait to put the headset on and go back and play some more.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I think we do have Luppy asking, when it comes to the guitars, are they fully custom, or they're licensed, or is there a mix?
So all I can say is there is a mix. People are kind of aware that we do have some brands involved in the game right now, but I can't talk about that much. But that is another very, very special element of our game. We are co-powered by some incredible brands that are working with us. So we'll share that with you here pretty soon, Lucky. But if you're a fan of electric guitar, and you're familiar with what you'd find on the rack at your average Guitar Center, then there's going to be some really incredible stuff for you inside of the game to discover and collect and play as well.
Cool. I think that's a good place to leave it, unless you've got any closing comments, things to add, Marcus.
No, I'm just so grateful for Upload to give us this time to show off our game. Everybody that's worked on this game for the past few years is just over the moon at the early feedback. I mean, everybody's nervously optimistic and very grateful for the opportunity to show off what we're so passionate about. So thank you to Upload for giving us the platform and the time to share, and thank you to the fans who have been so patient in waiting for this to come out. It is it's everything. It's like literally our hearts in a game for you. So we can't wait for you to get in and join us, and more great things to come, more exciting news to share with you guys. So stay tuned, because it's just going to get cooler.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
You're so good at phrasing things and and wrapping up and introing and excellent. Do you want to just host the podcast with us?
As long as you don't mind Daft Punk sitting next to you, count me in, man.
Cool. Well, yeah, thanks so much for being here, man. We really appreciate it. And
thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Zeena. You guys are awesome. We'll see you in the game soon. And check out Unplugged October 21st. Thanks again.
Cool. Woo. Catch you later, Marcus. Thanks for stopping by.
See you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I love listening to Marcus, like both in this Q&A. And
man can talk a game, can't he?
Yeah, he can talk a game. And in the interview that you did with him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, there's more questions there as well if you want to see other stuff. Virtual Insider just at the end there was asking PC release date. We know that's later in the year, but we don't know a specific date for the PC version yet, which is cool. Zeena,
Jamie,
do you want to talk about some other VR things for the next couple of minutes?
Heck yeah. That was just our Q&A with Marcus Henderson. We've got a few news stories to get into before we give our impressions on the Tokyo Game Show VR Expo and our review for Sweet Surrender. I just want to run through our members real quick, just because we had to get straight into the Q&A at the beginning there. So shout out to, here we go, Sexy Bicycle, Temeso, Devon Miller, Matthew May, Rick Tet, Robert Quinones, Steve Evans, Smash Reality, Adam Hartzell, the absolute boy, John Westra, and Dominique Frickman. Thank you so much for supporting us each month. We love it. Thank you so much. If you want to chuck us a super chat, if you don't want to become a member but you still want to support us, please do. And of course, we got the t-shirts down there as usual. Buy one. Anyway, let's get on to this week's news stories. They're kind of quite neatly and nicely put together as one topic, pretty much, that we can just, talk about it all.
Isn't it?
It is madness. So Facebook is going to have one heck of an October with Resident Evil 7 and Unplugged coming out on October 21st. Lone Echo 2 is coming out on the 12th, just on Rift. And we've got Medal of Honor announced for Quest 2 as well. That should be coming out sometime this year. Shout out to Cybook VR. Hello, welcome our friend. Song in the Smoke. Yes, that's also a game that's going to be coming out this month. For a game releasing next week, this game has a suspicious lack of info out there. Will this just end up as shovelware, Jamie?
That's a good question. I guess I'm allowed to say that I have review code, so I will have a review next week for it. And I haven't played it yet, and obviously, even if I had, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I get, just in case you wanted to take any assurance from that, it's not like they just dropped review code on me at the last minute. So that is something, at least. And if I couldn't talk about that, I apologize to the various publishers and developers. But yeah, it's
we've got the latest trailer on our channel right now for it. That was like only yesterday or the day before. When was that?
like it's a little dinky one, like 20 seconds long or something like that. I know what he means. Like there's been a lot of like screenshots and gifs and stuff like that, but we haven't really got a great sense of like how the game will actually flow yet. And I'm definitely going to be interested to see as I jump into that.
Yo, Daniel Lingard Leaper. I'm an afraid of commitment supporter. Thank you. You're our favorite kind.
Whatever
Cheers.
kind of supporter you are, we appreciate you. But isn't it funny, right? Isn't it funny that last week we had our big topic about how it's been quite a slow, boring year for VR content. And then a week later, we've got Resident Evil 4, Lone Echo 2, Medal of Honor on Quest, and then a whole bunch of stuff coming out on October 7th. Like, like we were saying, Song in the Smoke and stuff like that. It's surprising.
Opsar was just asking, can you move and shoot? I'm guessing he means Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, so let's start off with Resident Evil 4, which had a new trailer, which showed more areas of the game than we'd seen. Like the last footage had only been like the first couple of areas of the game, and we got to see some stuff from like the later bits. Yeah, you can move and shoot in this one, which is really interesting because Resident Evil 4 is a game of very specific pace and flow, and so much of what makes Resident Evil 4 great on a flat screen is that you can't move when you shoot. You have to calculate against these crowds and think, okay, when do I need to stop walking? When will I have enough space and enough time to aim at people? I have no idea how being able to move and shoot at the same time and dual wield, as you can see on the trailer right now. I'm very interested to see where that lands and if that kind of destroys the flow of the game at all. The other thing we've learned in the past week is that the cutscenes are on 2D screens, which I guess at the end of the day, it's not surprising, but it's still a bit of a shame that we couldn't get like a bit more of a native integration into that, right?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I could. Sorry, my headset was bugging out a little bit there.
No, it's fine. It's fine. And I guess what we don't know yet is what the QuickTime events, how they're gonna work out, right? Like is it gonna go to a 2D screen and you waggle the controllers to run away from the boulder? That's probably gonna be what it is.
Change in kind of tempo of the game, obviously. I think it's gonna have to be way less intense. I don't know. It's interesting because obviously with 7 that felt like you mentioned it was way more native. It was way more this is VR, whereas this, how many years ago was this made? And it's just had to be adapted.
2004.
Yeah,
so coming up on the 20th year anniversary of it, not in 3 years' time, which is absolutely crazy to think about.
So its design isn't even, typical of games nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. Although it does, I would say Resident Evil 4 has aged remarkably well. It plays better than 5 and 6, and you could probably argue people will like it more than even 8 that came out later this year. So there is that. I mean, people quite like 8, but I don't think it's remembered as like a huge classic.
It was just a massive meme with the women. So
yeah,
that's as much as I can see of it. Although I'm not really a Resident Evil player because I mentioned last episode last week. I'm not that great with scary games. Although I said about Walking Dead, it's okay to play stuff like this. I cannot do it. Like Resident Evil 7 on PSVR, no way. I was in it for about 5 seconds and I freaked out and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think
it's not going to be one that I play necessarily.
I'm really looking forward to diving into it because I back in the day I played Resident Evil 4 on GameCube, PS2, and Wii, and I think I've done the PS3 version as well. And even then, each of those versions I've probably completed multiple times. And So I've done it. I've played that game an obscene number of times. It's definitely one of my like favorite, top, maybe not top 10, but top 25 games of all time. I would definitely have it in there somewhere. And it's been long enough now that I'm not going to know the game like the back of my hand. I'm going to have to remember how to do some solutions, and I'm not going to remember quite how the flow of the game goes. So I'm really looking forward to coming at it with that kind of like, not a fresh perspective, but like at least like nostalgic, jogging my memory kind of view, which I think is going to be really, really fun. I know. I feel like everyone's very, very cautious about this because this game has so much love. I've seen a lot of people look at the 2D windows, the fact that when you climb a ladder it goes to a 2D window, the fact that when you jump out of a window it goes to a 2D window. And I've seen a lot of
windows?
people
We'll put windows in your
take
windows.
Take this. I've seen a lot of people look at that and say, it sucks that they have not like gone and fully adapted elements like that. And I do agree with that. But I also feel like if we can just accept that as a caveat and like look at the core, like look at what 90% of Resident Evil 4 is, which is that complete back against the wall tense shooting experience. If they can still bring that to VR and still make it interesting and arresting and maybe even find a new angle on it because of the platform, I am tremendously excited to see if they can do that, basically.
I think people are I've seen the less cautious people online, let's say. People are saying that people are going to be buying quests for this, especially like, Quest 2. They're going to be buying that up. They're saying it's a day one purchase. I think people are just going to dive headfirst into this.
I mean, there are people in the comments as well saying my hand tracking is really rubbish today. There are people in the comments saying it's just such a shame that it has to release on the same day as Unplugged, and I do entirely agree with that. When it comes down to the fact that we've had months and months and months of nothing really happening on Quest or any platform, and then it all just seems to collide like this. Just in one space, and suddenly you don't have time for anything. I don't know why I did that. So yeah, we'll see. Obviously we have to review both, and if Unplugged is good, as good as the preview indicated it was, and as we're hoping it would be now that we've seen the full track list, and we think it's a pretty good track list, right? Like I think there's some cool
Unplugged.
Cool songs
I love it. I think I'm really excited for it.
So I will, and if it measures up to all of that, I will be on full on. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 is really fantastic. If it is fantastic, but please go and check out Unplugged as well. If that happens.
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, it's a new game. Like this is so old. Get over it.
Come on, it's Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. It's do you know what? Me and
Meow Meow the Gamer Cat just said Unplugged is too scary for me. Sorry, what were you saying?
Me and Daniel and Meow Meow, we're all just going to be playing Unplugged while you guys continue with Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I'm going to... I might do the intro bit because I've done the intro bit. That's probably the most that I've played of a Resident Evil game, to be honest.
That's the very iconic, thing about Resident Evil. That intro is just so well... You're essentially going to know how different the game is and if it's going to work after playing that first 10-minute sequence anyway, right? Because if for any reason it loses its magic or power or the intensity of that experience, then you're kind of going to know what you're in for the next 12, 15 hours that the game lasts.
Yeah. Someone was asking if this was a timed exclusive or not. I think Oculus or Facebook have actually worked on this and have actually remastered it. So I don't think it's a timed I think it's just an exclusive as far as I can see.
I don't think we've had any official confirmation, but I would be surprised to see after the amount of support and effort Facebook's given it. Obviously it was like one of the biggest slots in the gaming showcase they had earlier this year, and they announced it together in the Resident Evil showcase earlier this year. I'd be surprised to see it come to other platforms. I really hope it does, because I think it would be an amazing addition to any platform. But yeah, I think this is one of those full-time deals.
Wait, is this releasing before Facebook Connect?
Yeah, Facebook Connect is on the 28th. This is the craziness
They
about
could have
this.
milked it.
They could have milked it, and then the other thing that they did before Facebook Connect
what the hell?
announced that Medal of Honor is coming to. If you're listening to audio, I just did a very dramatic change on the TV. Announced that Medal of Honor is coming to Quest 2 this year. This year, Facebook, why don't you just tell us
The
like,
year of our Lord 2021 Medal of Honor.
Yeah, that's how Mark Zuckerberg announced it. Why don't you just tell us about these things earlier on so that people aren't just sitting around for months on end thinking, oh, there's nothing to play in VR and there's nothing really coming, you know?
Yeah.
This is interesting. I haven't played Above and Beyond because I couldn't get it running very well on my PC at the time. So someone called David Jagniex, I believe, reviewed that for us at the time. And this is interesting, right? Because when Medal of Honor released, it didn't go down incredibly well. People said it was good, and there were some great aspects to it, but there was a lot of complaints about the game's pacing and flow, and the performance. So
exactly, Adam. Who?
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be really interested to dive back into this because everyone's gotten so excited that everyone seems to have a little bit forgotten that everyone was actually pretty disappointed with Above and Beyond when it released this time last year.
Yeah, I don't know why there's this rose-tinted glasses perspective.
Because I think people just want this level of content on Quest at the end of the day. And the trailer, it looked like from the trailer, it looked like a really good port. Graphics looked definitely obviously pared down, but looked like it was really pushing the Quest 2. And yeah, people are very, very keen for cool, explosive blockbuster campaigns. And at the end of the day, so much of that criticism was based around the performance, that if they can dial it in and get it running on Quest 2, is that going to improve the experience considerably, or is it going to be let down by other people, other aspects, not other people letting the game down?
Well, talking about trying to cram it on the Quest, didn't we release a story? Well, didn't we post a story today about the literal size of it?
Yeah, it's going to be between 40 to 50 gigabytes. Who was saying that? VR Dynamite. So it will just fit on your 64 gigabyte Quest 2, but you probably have space for like one or two more apps other than that. Yeah, delete all your videos, wipe it, and we'll see how it goes. If it does, if it runs well, they need to release. They basically need to release the Quest 2 version again on PC so that other PC owners can run it without having ridiculously expensive hardware, right?
Yeah, totally. But yeah, and then Lone Echo 2, right?
Yeah, I mean I feel like we're cheating talking about this again because it's like, all right, fine, you're actually coming out, great.
Come on, when was it meant to come out?
They announced it for the end of August, so it was delayed by about a month and a half. But obviously, before then, it had disappeared for all of 2020 and was announced in 2018, I want to say, 2019 maybe. So
ages ago. How long was the first one? Like how many hours?
Like 4 hours, so it wasn't the longest experience.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think so. Of those three, and then let's also add in. No, we'll start with this question. Of those three, so of the three big Facebook releases announced for the rest of the year now, which one are you looking forward to the most? I guess you're not big on any of them, right? Really?
No.
Okay. I think I'm looking forward to Lone Echo 2 the most, actually, just because it is something new and original for VR.
Yeah, that is the one that I would have gone with. I haven't actually played the first one, so it's not like fantastic. I've tried it out and I don't really like it, or it's not really my genre. I don't really know. I just know that it's a classic, and it's one of those games that people talk about so much that you just assume that you kind of know anyway. because people talk about it. You've got like
Yeah.
secondhand experience through it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think you know, I want to go back and play the original Lone Echo because it was just at the time like just the zero gravity movement. It was kind of like it was just you were suddenly taking the like weird locomotion out of VR. Obviously it's still not perfect, but just that sense of propelling yourself forward by grabbing the environment and pulling yourself through it was really, 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 really compelling. And again, it's like one of those surprising things where you saw someone do it so well, and you thought, oh man, everyone's going to be doing this a couple of years from now. And we get a lot of VR climbing games, but still, no one's quite matched that smoothness that Lone Echo had. And it's been so long working on this project that I do hope we get a bigger adventure and some really, really interesting elements to it. It's one of those things for Facebook, obviously, where they're either like they've got a development team somewhere locked away somewhere desperately doing whatever witchcraft they need to do, just like Medal of Honor, to get it running on Quest. So they're like, you know, that's cool. Either that or they're just sitting there like, oh man, wish we'd commissioned this one for Quest all the way back in the day, you know, so we could have designed it from the start.
They're definitely gonna bring it to Quest. They can't just be like, oh well, that ship has sailed. Like,
well,
they can still do it.
Yeah,
I mean, look at
maybe.
this, for crying out loud. This is coming to Quest.
That's true. Maybe one at a time, maybe kind of thing, or something like that. Maybe
Walking Dead is on Quest. It has to come. It's not.
But I would say Lone Echo 2, even though like it doesn't strike you as the most complex and demanding game, like, you know, physics wise or anything like that. It's definitely like the highest visual fidelity, I think, to date still, right? You know, and then like the character animations and everything like that are just like Ready at Dawn is a studio that knows what it's doing in like the cinematic visual department, and I don't think many games have really topped even the original Lone Echo since. So getting all of that working would be really, really tough. And you know, these games are getting older, and we're getting more distance between them. And you know, to some sense, it's a shame that Facebook didn't have a year where they just did roll out, you know, Lone Echo, Asgard's Wrath, and every other Oculus Studios exclusive they put out for Rift, just to kind of pad out this year.
Yeah,
but obviously there's a million reasons why that's not.
Well, I'm sure lots of them aren't like quick jobs, are they?
Yeah. So, but then expanding that question out, so we've got those three considered, but then also we've got like Unplugged, Song in the Smoke, Loco Dojo. We've
got a whole list coming out tomorrow. FYI, everyone.
It's a giant.
It's quite a big list of the October games. Shall I just read off of the list that you gave me?
Yeah, you can do that. It's not like nothing's under embargo, is it? No.
I don't think so.
No,
otherwise you wouldn't put it in.
Yeah. Good point.
YOLO. All right. Let's read out this wall of text. There's an arcade game, Men in Black.
Oh yeah, like an actual physical location-based experience is launching on October 1st at the Dreamscape.
Oh, how could we forget Puzzle Bubble?
All right, moving on.
Yes, we are. How could we forget?
Not so much.
There's Song in the Smoke. There's Wraith is coming to PSVR.
Yep, we knew that. Yep, that's cool.
Was not there.
That's a good one for PSVR fans for sure. That's a big release. That and Song in the Smoke is PSVR as well.
Yes. I'm really on edge about this in case of the whole embargo thing, but I'm just going to go ahead and say stuff.
I think we're fine.
No one tell anyone else if it's, you know, if we're not supposed to say.
Living dangerously.
Shadowgate VR, The Minds of Mythrock.
Oh no, that's fine.
No, don't do that. My heart. That's for Quest. There's Loco Dojo Unleashed on Quest.
Oh, you've gone silent.
Have I?
No, you did for a second. Now you haven't.
Okay. That was Zuckerberg silencing me about an embargo title. No, I said Loco Dojo. Eye of the Temple.
that's cool.
That was a side quest one, wasn't it? Or no?
No, it feels like a side quest one, but it's actually like a launch era room scale one, which is why it would feel like a side quest one. It's not coming to Quest; it's coming to PC. But I'm excited for that. That's a long time coming.
There's Unplugged. There's Resident Evil 4. There's Iron Rebellion.
Oh yeah, we said that's coming in they said it's coming in the next few weeks, and I thought that was really interesting. We need to write a story about that. I'm going to write a story about that. But yeah, big month. Got a lot to get through. It's going to be tiring. I'm tired just thinking about it, to be honest with you.
So, do you think 2021, after this month, especially with all the releases that we've just said, do you think 2021 is a good VR gaming year? Just to go back to that discussion.
I think if it is, it'll be because Unplugged surpassed expectations, and maybe because and Lone Echo 2 is something special. I think those two could end up being real staples in the calendar year. Maybe Resident Evil, but I think people are gonna. I think that's going to be a very divisive release, and I don't know which side of it I'm going to come down on yet. Medal of Honor, no, because I don't. Whatever the port ends up being, I don't think it's going to be able to escape the inherent design issues people had with it when it first released. But having said that, I've not played it myself, so I need to see.
So Go Green and Game On was like asked if at Facebook Connect will they have much to say about upcoming games. One thing that I was thinking, right?
They've got to.
Well, Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell, right? They have said nothing about that since last Facebook Connect, right?
But last Facebook Connect was literally just we've signed the deal for it, right? Like, and then I've been checking the job listings fairly regularly. They still look for like senior level roles on those games, so I have no idea how far along they are and if they're going to be ready to show. But I was trying to get onto this line of thinking earlier. It's just I don't like Facebook's. Oh yeah, by the way, this is coming out in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, this is coming out later, like in the last 3 months of the year.
Yeah.
Approach. I really wish, if you want people to get hyped about VR and excited about VR, just in the same way that Sony has to announce God of War with a silly little teaser trailer last year before following it up with a bigger trailer this year, even though it's probably not coming till like the end of next year or whatever.
Yeah.
Same way they announced a CG trailer for Wolverine, just not far into it being announced, to it being started. You need to do some of that stuff. Because if we're talking about like the big megatons for Quest next year, we genuinely don't know anything right now.
Anything.
Which is crazy.
Only the overfill from this year that haven't released.
Exactly. Anything that got delayed, if Medal of Honor ended up slipping, and if we don't hear anything about After the Fall until the end of the year, then maybe those two. But yeah.
So XXL mentioned Dyschronia Chronos Alternative from the developer of Tokyo Chronos. That brings us on to our next topic, which we're going to give our impressions of the Tokyo Game Show's VR Expo. It's free. It's out now. It just launched today. And it's open to anyone and everyone who wants to go and jump in. Jamie jumped in earlier today, and we posted our walkthrough of the show floor, so to speak, and it included Dyschronia as well as Puzzle Bobble and another kind of creepy, typical Japanese. There's a schoolgirl that you just want to be friends with, sort of thing.
That you're just like, I'm just going to keep walking past this booth.
This is creepy. I'm going to leave this now.
Yeah.
But yeah, take it away. I'll see if I can play the video.
Well, I guess I wanted to ask. Obviously, you edited the gameplay I took of it. What did you think of it?
I thought it was I thought it was nice, but like you mentioned, it's nothing like those. What is it called on VR chat?
Oh, VR Market.
Yeah, it's nothing like VR Market where they, you have models of some of the characters, but not all of them. They haven't done it to its full extent. Some of them might as well have just not been there really at all. There are some just old games there.
Yeah,
And games that just didn't even you felt like the developers or the companies just didn't even really want it in there, but they'll just put a screen in. So like Pokemon Masters X.
Just a little bit in the corner.
It was just a tiny, tiny little bit in the corner. It's like, well, Pokemon, especially being in this, you could do so much more. Nothing was moving other than, the I don't know, the characters that were meant to help you. It felt quite cute, but they could have done more, but I still think it's pretty cool.
I mean, you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. It's one of those things where like, whenever someone announces they're going to do like a giant in VR event, especially something on the scale of Tokyo Game Show, you're like, the idea for this is so cool, but like, what can you actually bring of value to it right now? And the answer is, oh, good, you've got it running on the screen. So if you're watching along on video, you can see our gameplay. The answer is like, you can't do too much with it right now, but you are at the very least laying the groundwork for future editions of the show, because the cool thing about this is seeing these like giant 3D character models, like the monsters from Monster Hunter you see in VR for the first time, and even though it's just a static 3D model, it's a really cool, powerful experience to go and see it. But then, like you were saying, you walk through the Konami booth and it's just trailers for games that are already out. And you think, well, I've already seen these on YouTube. I'm not going to like suddenly stop and watch them now, because it's not going to be any different of an experience at the end of the day. So I think that, I think as cool as it is, they need to like think of interactive experiences that are feasible in the here and now to really make this kind of thing worth it. That you'd want to go in, let's say, like, if fine, you've got Capcom there, so why not have like, I don't know, you go into the Monster Hunter booth, and this is just completely off the top of my head, but you have like Monster Hunter chess pieces, and you can sit down with someone else and play a game of Monster Hunter chess in that booth or something like that. Just tiny little cool, interesting
or even just the
experiences
music.
like that.
When you enter that area, not like this generic music, but like dun 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 dun, you walk in and there's like tunes. I don't know, cherry blossoms or whatever. Like,
yeah, really cool. or like to hold some of the weapons in the game. How cool would that be?
Yes, exactly.
Like you don't necessarily want like to have like virtual booths where like you've somehow created some sort of online platform where you've got a million demos for Monster Hunter Rise up and running, and you can just run up and play it, because that obviously is a technical hurdle that comes with immense challenge. But there's definitely really cool interactive things you could be doing that at least give you more of a sense of having like a kind of intimate, in-person fan experience than just kind of walking around right now.
So, on that line of thinking, Cat Yam asked if we tried out the Attack on Titan experience, which was the most interactive thing, I guess, that you tried out.
It's not even really interactive, is it? It's literally, it's a 360 thing, a video that you stand in the middle of a stage for, and then it plays out around you. So wasn't super thrilling. But some people did do it better. There's right now we have the Bandai Namco on the screen, and they had a cooler area with Pac-Man, like an actual 3D Pac-Man above with the ghosts,
literally above,
which I really, really liked, and then some more 3D character models. It's not the most amazing experience. I spent 20 minutes in there, and I'm probably not going to go back in. But hey, it was free, and it was the first. I consider there to be probably 3 big trade shows in the gaming industry, being E3, Gamescom, and TGS. And it's so cool to see one of the big 3 finally making a move on this. And I would send them nothing but positive encouragement and say, yeah, please do this again next year. But at the Sega booth, pitch to Sega, that you have like a Sonic arcade game in there or something, like, you know, like you have a game where you run around picking up the rings and avoiding the spikes.
Yeah, that would be so easy as well. It would be so simple. But I guess that's just more funding that has to go into it, right?
Yeah.
I was even just thinking with the Monster Hunter monsters, there's stairs that lead you up to the top of the monster. Imagine
about
if
to
you
walk up
could
one on the
like
video.
get onto the back of it and there'd be a mirror in front of you.
Yeah.
And you could just take a screenshot of you being on it, and you know
Yeah.
that's the sort of stuff that you want to do at these kind of expos.
Yeah, there's so much potential there, and this is just scratching the surface. But I'm really, really glad they did it, and I hope they get a good enough response, you know, both in terms of numbers and viewer feedback, that they're not like, okay, well that was a waste of time, but they think, okay, well how can we improve on this for next time
Yeah,
around?
100%. 100%.
So yeah,
I was really excited about it, and I still am excited about it. And you know, when I hear hopefully next year, so here we go, we're going up the stairs to go see the monster. You get quite close. It's quite
the
cool.
monster.
When I hear next year that they're doing it again, I'll be really eager to see what they've done with it. We're just coming up to the Attack on Titan part.
Yeah, which isn't super thrilling, but and then walking through that bit is really, really cool. Again, that's one. So that if you're listening on audio, that's like giant Attack on Titan character models, and they've recreated like a street scene from the anime, and it's like paused in real time, and you're kind of walking through the action to get to the 360 experience, which I thought was really, really cool. But the 360 experience itself is just this simple standing on a stage. Doesn't really it's kind of weird, isn't it? Like 360 itself doesn't super feel like VR, and then you're putting 360 in VR, so there's kind of like almost this extra barrier in between in a weird sense, because you can run around the stage and everything like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the future of this. It was running on the Zamba or XAMBR platform from a company called Amber AMBR. I think they did a good job, and I encourage them to keep going.
Keep on trucking. Cool. So we're going to move on from that, and we are going to talk about our review of Sweet Surrender, which is out today on Quest and PC VR.
Yeah, 25 minutes ago.
Sorry?
Came out 25 minutes ago.
There you go. Jamie is yet to put the review up on the website, I believe.
Yeah, that will probably be happening tomorrow.
Take it away.
Yeah,
we can get our visuals up.
Sweet Surrender is something we've been following, like, kind of cautiously over the course of the year. Caught my eye back in the first half of 2021, like mainly thanks to a really, really gorgeous cell. I don't know if you can call it cell shaded, but like cartoonish art style. Mixed with very kind of like vibrant, like almost Hotline Miami style visuals to go with it too, which you can see on the screen if you're watching along now. And then it's, you know, a roguelike. So, you know, if you're thinking flat screens, you're thinking Hades and Dead Cells. If you're thinking VR games, you're thinking Until You Fall and In Death. And from what I've played of it so far, it is, you know, when I previewed it a couple of months ago, I said it's got all the bones of, you know, a good roguelike or rogue light so hard shooter. I just don't know if there's going to be that loop to it that gets you really addicted. And now, having played, I've probably played about 3 or 4 hours now, and I'll be putting in more before we do an official score review tomorrow. All I can really say is, yeah, all those elements are still there, and there's more of them. Some really cool elements that I wasn't expecting in there, like if you spend too long in a level, they'll send like a really beastly enemy after you to finish you off. and things like
Is that the one that you screamed about earlier today?
Yeah, I did. Because he phased through a wall and it was just this giant blue cloud, and I was not expecting it whatsoever. And I was near the end of a run, so I was thinking, "Oh, great! I'm gonna get really far in this run." And then that guy kind of ruined it for me. But in terms of like the weapon handling, you know, you're kind of along your more arcadey. You could fire from the hip if you want, or you could properly line down the sights if you want. The movement is very fast paced. There's a hook shot that you can propel yourself over rooms with, and so it's in terms of like actual VR shooter mechanics, it's not overly complicated. It's also not like incredibly immersive. It is one of those kind of more you can kind of shut your brain off a bit while you're playing at games. But at the same time, I kind of enjoyed that in this roguelite context. I found myself, you know, frustrated when I was losing health and having to start runs over when I'd built up a good amount of loot. You know, you can upgrade like health and weapon damage, and you can find better weapons as you go, and more enemies come about, and you get sniper rifles and things like that. And there are 4 main areas in the game right now with 3 updates to come. And those 4 main areas, you work your way through 3 randomized levels to get to the next area. So there's actually quite a lot to it right now in its current form, and there's more on the way. And that, I think, it's a really solid foundation. It's just going to be interesting to see where they grow it from here. And if they can add new ideas and mechanics that maybe lean into VR a bit more. And yeah, I'm positive. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't think it's the most remarkable or remarkably different shooter out there, but it's clean, simple, roguelite fun. And I think if you're into roguelites and that kind of sense of progression, you're probably going to get a kick out of it. But I'm going to spend a bit more time with it before I'm ready to stamp the full review on it.
So Boy Brown VR says, looks visually nice, but boring gameplay. It just depends on if you like the genre, right?
Yeah, I don't think the gameplay is boring. I think you can definitely fall, like I said, I think you can definitely fall into the trap of, just dual wield 2 pistols, like hold your hands at waist height and just shoot around, not really thinking about it, especially with the movement being so fast paced. It is that thing of like, instead of dodging a bullet physically, you know, flick the stick left or right to run away from it. And to me, that kind of stuff, you know, as I infamously said in Doom, that kind of stuff is always getting away from VR a bit for me. But I do think you can actually play this with using 2 hands on a submachine gun, lining up your sights to get enemies across the map. And I think you can play it in a bit more of an immersive VR centric way than something like Doom 3. So I don't think the gameplay is boring. I actually think it's pretty fun, pretty good, clean, honest arcade fun is what I kind of keep coming back to. I don't think it's the most incredibly immersive VR game, but I think it's a nice little distraction while, like, you know, like we've been saying, like waiting for these bigger VR games.
A nice addition to your library, right?
For sure.
It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Adam Hartzell said Sweet Surrender looks like Compound with cell shading. So
yeah,
look into that.
I hope Compound comes to Quest. I love Compound, but yeah. So yeah, no, that's all there really is to say about it at this point in time. If you're into the roguelites, then and you've already played In Death and Until You Fall, which I would say are better, more fully fleshed out games at this point in time, but that's because they 2 games that did come to market in early access and did spend months, you know, refining and adding content, whereas this is releasing on straight out of the gate and hasn't had the time to go through that process yet. It's one to watch for sure.
Opzar says that it looks like Petergrad. Actually, I think that trailer's a little bit misleading. Because watching that trailer, I was like, Petergrad. But then I played a bit of it myself, and it was not like that.
Well, I can kind of see it.
Yeah, with the
yeah, but I think they mean visual style, right?
Yeah, but there was also the grappling hook.
Oh, that's
stuff.
true. Yeah, the grappling hook. Yeah, I've come across it a couple of times in my runs, but it's not like you have it on you all the time. So that, I guess, that's kind of the misleading thing about it. Yeah, it's not. It's an agile shooter, but you're not going to be doing acrobatics the entire run.
Cool. I think that about wraps up this week for the VR Gamescast. Thank you everyone for joining us. You can check out all of the stories and our reviews and such over at uploadvr.com. Yeah, and we'll catch you next Thursday. No, we won't catch you next Thursday. I think we're going to give next week a miss.
Oh yeah, no Gamescast next week, gang, because we're not here, but we will be back in 2 weeks.
Yes, so not next week, but the week after. But of course, join the Monday games VR downloads, not the Gamescast. They don't talk about games. Sometimes they do. They talk about hardware. They talk about, you know, the hard hitting news. We're here talking to the guy who did Guitar Hero, talking about rocking out. But yeah, we will be here in 2 weeks. My headset is about to turn off from low power. Thank you, everyone. We will catch you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.